This is the one about being a media company that happens to sell real estate.
If you're a real estate agent or broker, this show is for you. Onion Juice is both a podcast and a movement designed to wake up and redefine the real estate industry. Here's your host, Neil Mathweg, for another stimulating episode of The Onion Juice. Let's join the movement now.
Welcome, Juicers. My name is Neil Mathweg. It's that time once again for the Onion Juice podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure you head to iTunes and give me a subscribe, a like, and a review. I would greatly appreciate that. We're trying to get some momentum going on iTunes as this podcast is only in its fourth episode. This is episode number 4. And so, trying to gain some ground there. And also make sure you like us on Facebook, Onion Juice Podcast. You just go to Facebook and search for us there, and you'll find us. So in this episode, I want to start out. I want to start out talking about a line. Yeah, you heard me right. A line. I know. Exciting, right? Yeah, very, very exciting. Well, really, it is. It is an exciting. It is an exciting line. All right. It's a line we should all aspire to cross. It really. Yeah. If I were to guess, I think there's probably only about 5% of agents out there that have crossed this line. So what line am I talking about? Let me get to the point here. Well, it's a line that you cross when people hire you because of who you are instead of what you offer or what you do. Let me repeat that. It's a line you cross when people hire you because of who you are instead of what you offer or what you do. It's when you don't need to tell people that you're a realtor because everyone already knows it. It's when you become like this household name, or when people, this might be a little weird, but some people might even think that you're like a local celebrity, right? Everywhere they go, they see you. And everywhere you go, when they see you, they know who you are. They know that you're a realtor. You're a household name. And I want to help you cross this line. But before I do that, I want to make sure that we all understand one thing. One thing's very important here, that there is no relationship between being a good realtor and getting paid. You can be the best realtor and not get paid. You can be the best at writing contracts. You could write the best offer to purchase in the whole world. But if you have no one to write a contract for, it doesn't matter. It all comes down to who's best at marketing, who's best at attracting people. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I know it's kind of sad. I know it's sad that it doesn't really come down to how great of a realtor you are. It just comes down to how great you are at marketing. I know that's sad, but it's the truth. And most people know how to sell, but the problem is they don't have anyone to sell to. Does it sound familiar? In my years of attracting people, I soon discovered that it wasn't really about. I guess you know what I learned is that instead of hiring a marketing company or having somebody do the marketing for me, that I should just become the marketing company. That I should position myself to be like an advertising agency or to be like a media company that just happens to sell real estate. So I started hanging out with marketers. I started, from marketers from other industries. I started attending marketing seminars, and I read every marketing book that I could get my hands on. And then I heard Gary Vaynerchuk say, no matter what business you're in, you should be in the media business first. Dentists should be in the media, be a media company that just happens to fix teeth. A carpet cleaner, for another example, should be a media company that just happens to clean carpets. I learned that I'm a media company that just happens to sell real estate. The exposure that you can gain today exceeds any times that we've ever had, and ever. I mean, it is so easy to be a media company now. It's far easier to be a media company than ever before. I guarantee that. Equipment is cheap. Airtime is practically free. But the challenge, I think, is that it's very noisy because the media is so cheap and so free and so easy to get on. It's noisy. And in order to gain more exposure today, you really have to have very top-notch, very good media in order to attract people. If you focus on it instead of it being something that you just do every once in a while, and if you really think that you're a media company and you really focus on it, you'll be amazed at what happens. You'll be playing a game that nobody else is playing. You'll raise the bar. You'll create more attraction than you'll ever imagine. And so, this episode, I want to talk about being a media company that happens to sell real estate. I want to give you some examples, not only of the things that I've done, but the power that it's created for me. And I really want to get you thinking like you're a media company that just happens to sell real estate. Here is an example of the power that comes with being a media company that happens to sell real estate. As many of you know, I do a weekly show every Monday morning called Mathweg Monday Trivia, where I give away a $25 gift certificate to one of 4 different restaurants in Madison, Wisconsin area. And I come up with this trivia question that's really kind of similar to like a Family Feud style question. It's not a question that you can Google and go find the answer. And I generate about 2,500 to 5,000 views a week. I boost it for $5 a week on Facebook. I get about 50 to 100 comments a week, and I have a core following of maybe, 50 to 100 people that consistently play. And it like I said, I get 2,500 to 5,000 views. So not I don't want to talk about how many people play. That's one story. But how many views I'm getting, how much exposure am I getting by playing this show or by playing this game and running this show. And this exposure has just made ripples. This is the story I want to share just to show you the power behind this. If I were to, there was one day I was at the grocery store. And I'm standing in the aisle, and this lady I'm trying to get a package of cheese, shredded cheese, all right? And there's this lady that has her cart, she's in between, the cart is to the left, and she is to the right of the cheese that I need to get. So I kind of try to squeeze in there to grab the cheese, just try to not, so I don't have to say excuse me, but just kind of reach in there and grab the cheese because I didn't think I would bother her. Well, as I'm reaching for the cheese, she looks at me. We make eye contact, kind of awkward. We make eye contact, and she's like, "You're Neil Mathweg." And I'm like, well, yes, I am. And your name is? Right, because that's what all famous people do, right? They always ask the other person's name. And I said, your name is? And she told me who she was. And I'm like, oh, great, nice to meet you. And she's like, you probably don't know me, but I play Mathweg Monday Trivia every Monday. And I just absolutely cannot wait to play every week. I look forward to Mondays because of your show. And I'm like, wow, really? I'm like, well, that's the reason we do the show is to cheer everybody up on Mondays. So that is awesome. It's the great way to get people together every Monday morning, and here it's working, and here you're engaging. And she went on and on and on about how awesome how awesome she thought the show was, and how much she loved it, and what it meant to her. And I was just blown away. But right there is the power of being a media company that happens to sell real estate. Another example, look at radio stations, look at morning shows, look at radio stations as a whole, but look at morning show hosts. Look at how much time they spend when they're off air. All they're focusing on is what their next show is going to be about, what the next contest is going to be, what promotion they can run, how can they empower, how can they, maybe educate, but more empower, or how can they gain engagement with their audience? That's all they focus on. Could you imagine if you were a radio, just you be a realtor, but think like a morning show host. Create those engagements, and those engagements are going to lead to relationships, and you know what happens once you have relationships. So I think we as realtors, we need to be a media company that happens to sell real estate, that is all about empowering and educating our audience, that will then create the engagements. Before I get going on some more examples here and talking more about this, I just want to remind you and ask you if you could please go to iTunes. If you're not there already, please subscribe, rate, and review. This will help me get on the new and noteworthy list on iTunes, and that's one thing that I'm reaching for. So if you could help me, it's really all I'm asking of you to go do that for me. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, I want to invite everybody to go to the onionjuicepodcast.com, and there I have a free gift for you. It's a 12-minute video that I put together of my two-step listing presentation. And I used to do a one-step, and I used to be a huge fan of a one-step listing presentation. Go in and get it done. And what I've learned over the years is that this two-step process is far better, not only for getting the listing, but for getting referrals. And so go check that out. It's my free gift to you. No strings attached. Just go and download it. We've got it set up where you've got to put in your email address, just so that you can make sure that you get the file that has the email or that has the video in it, and also to make sure that we don't have anybody spamming to get it. So we want to make sure you're a real live person. So just go to onionjuicepodcast.com to grab that, and also continuing the conversations on Facebook. So the conversations around each podcast, I'd love to have those on Facebook, so you can just search for Onion Juice Podcast on Facebook, and also that's where I download the sips of OJ that will just be little 3 to 5 minute sips of OJ, so of sips of onion juice. So go there and grab those, and then also I'm really getting bullish on this Periscope thing, and so search for me on Periscope. Just search for my name right now. I haven't set up an Onion Juice Scope account yet, so just search for my name, Neil Mathweg, and join me on Periscope, and we can chat about these episodes. So I'll record the episodes, I'll load them on iTunes, and so that they can get out to everybody. But then let's have a little conversation around them. It'd be kind of fun. So search for me on Periscope as well. Getting back to this here, being a media company that happens to sell real estate, some of the things that media companies focus on is they focus on purchasing better equipment, right? Like they're always looking for the best cameras or the best microphones or the best lighting. They're always passionate about hiring the right people, the artists and videographers and photographers, and they're forming their team of people around media. They're absolutely passionate about marketing, and they're passionate about social media and any way that they can advertise or market their products or their, if you're a media company, you are in the business of helping others promote their business. So be a media company and promote your own business, have shows, do things that media companies would do. The other thing that I'm really trying to figure out, I guess I don't have all of my thoughts around this yet, but I am blown away at millennials right now. I think it's between the age of 18 and 25, or I've heard some say like the 15 to 28, somewhere in there. What I'm thinking about is college students. I live here in Madison, Wisconsin, and UW-Madison is full of well-educated students that are I think brilliant when it comes to social media. I mean, some of these call them kids, but some of these kids are so good on Facebook and so good on Snapchat and Instagram and now probably Periscope and Meerkat, that they growth hack. They know a good post when they post it, and if it doesn't do well right away, they know to take it down and try a new one. Okay, now that's talking about probably their best selfie, but if you can use them in business to make sure that what you're putting out is brilliant, then by all means, why wouldn't we want to connect with these people? I think millennials, this era has the kids in this era have the biggest opportunity, I think, out of any kids in an era. I mean, you could have them as interns and they're going to do more for you than just go get your coffee. Like, I really feel that there's a huge opportunity here that a lot of businesses are not taking advantage of, or are using to better their business and better the student. I mean, this, if you can give an intern an opportunity in your company on a media level where it gives them a portfolio of work to use, and pay them a fair wage for their work, I don't understand why more of us aren't connecting with college students, or the kids in this era. I think it's a huge opportunity. I'm still trying to figure all of that out, but I really want to add them to my media company, and I'm excited about all of that. I think we really need to get bullish on Facebook advertising and creating special reports to create engagements and give away freebies and stuff on Facebook. So I'm excited about what we're working on there, and I'll fill you all in on what I'm doing once I get it up and going. I also, many of you know I'm a big fan of Gary Vee, and he started he started out in the wine business and realized that he needed to be a media company that happened to sell wine. And he started his show, Wine Library, and it took off with a lot of hustle, and he worked at it for a long time before it took off. But he got that concept right away of being a media company that just happens to sell wine. And now he's got the Ask Gary Vee show, and that's taken him to a whole nother level. And so I really think that we need to think like a media company that happens to sell real estate. If you want to hear what Gary says about what realtors think, if he was a realtor, what would he do? And he go listen to the Ask Gary Vee show, and episode 36 is one that you should check out. Another thing too is this. This is a sip of OJ, that I put out there, but I also want to talk about it in this show, is the Dunn newspaper story. And this is a newspaper that is in the city of Dunn. I don't even know where the city of Dunn is at, but it's a local newspaper that has like 120% buy-in on their newspapers. It was 110 or 120, something like that. Anyways, they're selling more newspapers than the population, than the people in the population. So they're selling a lot of newspapers, and they're like, everybody's like wondering how, because most local newspapers send like 10 to 15%, and this guy is crushing it at 120%. So what's he doing? And so they went and asked him and interviewed him, and the thing that he said is that his newspaper is based on the mantra of names, names, names. And what he means by that is, a good article will have a lot of local names in it. And he focuses on his local community, where a lot of local newspapers also will maybe bring in outside stories, maybe big city stories or professional sports stories, instead of the local stories. And a good story that has a lot of names in it will get printed over another story that doesn't have a lot of local names in it. And so he just focuses on every story having as many local names on it. I think we as realtors need to take this example and run with it. We have, as realtors, more local stories than anybody. We have data, we have stories, we have information that somebody that looks at a spreadsheet cannot get. For example, we had an agent in our office a few weeks ago mention that his buyer wrote $20,000 above list price and didn't get it. Is there a better example of where the market's at with a story like that? And so I feel as realtors, we need to tell those stories, and those are the stories that our consumers want to hear, and those are the stories that we can tell, that we can be a media company that happens to sell real estate. So I think take that example and run with it. Be a media company that happens to sell real estate. All right, so there you have it. Before I let you go, I wanted to share one last thought with you, and that is producing art creates energy. Chasing people costs you energy. So do art, be a media company that happens to sell real estate, and it's going to create this energy in you that you won't know what to do with. You'll want to do more of it. And I'm sorry, but when I have to cold call or chase people or even return a Zillow lead, it drains me, and I don't really get excited about doing it. But recording something, producing my art, being a media company that happens to sell real estate, that excites me, and I know it will excite you. So again, thank you so much for tuning into the Onion Juice podcast. I'm starting to feel good about this. This is our 4th episode under our belt, and I tell you, it's been a lot of fun. It is hard to put these episodes together. I hope I get in the groove. I always say that your first gadget is your hardest gadget to make. But your 100th gadget, you kind of start to get it going. So that's where I'm hoping I'm at. And I also would like to remind you to please head on over to iTunes. If you're driving, don't do it right now. But as soon as you land, head on over to iTunes, subscribe, rate, and review. Hope to continue the conversation on Facebook. Just look for Onion Juice Podcast on Facebook. And also check me out on Periscope. I'm going to be on Periscope quite a bit now. So I'd love to connect with you there. Hope that everybody has a great day. And like always, remember to be the reason somebody smiles today.